MMA today for tomorrow. Today we do not have Dr. King with us because he's busy on house calls, but I got Big Boss Tone. What's going on?
What's up? I just made it back from Vegas. Eventful weekend. So I'm back in San Diego. It's nice to be home.
Did you see Aubrey Marcus there?
No, I did not. I saw Nick Diaz. I'll talk about that a little bit later.
All right.
Well, yeah, we figured with all the UFC 218, the Ultimate Fighter, all this, we start the podcast off with a little EBI drama.
Exactly.
So.
It's a trip how the grappling world, like especially the no-gi grappling world, has intertwined into the MMA news cycle now.
Yeah, thanks in large part to Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo.
Yeah, they're the front runners.
Yeah, and the whole Joe Rogan podcast, which Aubrey Marcus, co-founder of On It, has been on a few times, and some crazy accusations came out. Basically, like you know the story, right?
Well, I've just seen it on Twitter, and so from what I know is Nawaza, which is actually the guy. His name is Travis Nawaza. Yeah, he has a brand, right? He has a clothing brand.
I'm not sure about. You might know more than I do.
Yeah, I think he has a clothing brand. He's been around for a while. I think it's a grappling brand, but I guess he's also a jiu-jitsu instructor. And from what I know is like he got a job at On It.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that's where everything started to happen right there. So what do you know? That's all I know really, like for sure.
I mean, well,
Allegedly.
we don't know anything for sure. These are all allegations, but basically he was saying that Aubrey Marcus, made like sexual advances towards him, and he was like, "Nah, bro." And that's when they basically like penalized him. He's claiming that they penalized him by cutting his salary, and then basically blacklisting him from EBI. Because On It, sponsors them and everything. So you just kind of figure he figured that they would have some sway there. Eddie Bravo came out and said that that's not true. Aubrey Marcus had no, impact on the fact that he wasn't on EBI. One of the, what was it? Someone involved with On It came out and said that the decision that it was true that his pay was, that he basically his pay was reduced, but that was because his position was changed in the company somehow.
From what I saw, I remember the number 700 for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
Reduced to like $700. I don't know if it was a month or a week or whatever, but yeah.
Well,
but I thought he was getting paid a lot a month in the beginning.
I mean,
was it 10,000 or something like that? It was something ridiculous that the dude was saying. Getting paid to teach jiu-jitsu at $10,000 is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and then Middle Easy came out with an article, kind of breaking this all down. But then at the end, there was like a bunch of opinion, which I don't understand why you need to have an opinion on a news when you're kind of reporting on this stuff. Mm-hmm. Why put a giant block, of opinion down at the bottom where he basically says he doesn't believe any of the thing that this guy's saying? I mean, but imagine if this was a woman saying these kind of things about, someone in power like that. Everybody this guy, Aubrey Marcus, would already be like broken off from the company probably and like trashed all over the internet. But I feel like because it was a guy saying that this guy made like gay sexual advances towards him, that it's like whatever, not a big deal.
It's that, what's that dude's name in Hollywood that just got busted for all that shit?
Kevin Spacey.
No, there's Kevin Spacey, but there was like the guy that started the snowball.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein. It's like Harvey Weinstein. Have you seen all this shit in Hollywood? It's just another addition to that, right? Like all these accusations. Like that dude from the 70s show, he's allegedly raped
The
his
from the
wife.
70s show.
Yeah, the dude from the '70s show,
Which one? There's quite a
the
few.
cool one,
What? Which one?
the Hider or Hater. Is that his name?
The stoner dude?
Hyde. The
Hyde the
stoner one.
stoner dude?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Supposedly he raped his wife while she was sleeping. Allegedly, those are all like allegations that are coming out now, which they are divorced now, right? But crazy shit like that, right? But yes, like that Kevin Spacey shit. This shit is like that John Travolta shit from
Yeah.
before, you know, like you don't know
Well,
if John Travolta's gay, but there's like a lot of allegations about him, you know, getting massages and making advances to people, especially men, right? Shit like that. So
the Colt Farm thing, yeah, that
yeah,
was
that what is that?
yeah.
Is
I'll
that
just say
real?
I'll just say that's not the first time I've heard of that.
In Arizona or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, definitely not the first time I heard about that. Um,
So is
but
that cult farm like a cult farm for like gay dudes?
no, I mean, using the word cult, I don't know if that exactly fits, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because if people are out there, you know, there's you go up to the Bay Area here, and you got fucking people like that all over, you know, like the you know that kind of hippie, like, you know, let's all get like 50 fucking people and fit us in a 3-bedroom house, and we'll like plant corn and fucking not work and smoke pot all day, and like, you know.
Well,
uh,
that stems from the '60s, right? The West Coast is
no,
pretty
this
known
shit
from
still
that.
goes on. This shit still goes on
I know
quite
that's what I'm saying.
a
It's
lot.
like it's continuing from the '60s era of like the Hare Krishnas and
Yeah,
the Moonies and all that shit. Like the West Coast is known for that shit, right? So it's still going on, and they're just doing it separately, just individually. People are doing it.
yeah. I mean, and so I mean, we really don't know anything. If we find out more information, obviously we'll report it. As it stands right now, he hasn't even clarified,
Yeah.
you know, some of his comments. So until he does that, I feel like this story can't really move forward. And these are just allegations, you know. They're just you know, accusations that he's made, and hasn't really, you know, backed them up in any way. So that's
Yeah,
what.
it's just it's nowadays like people just accusing people of shit all the time. So is it true? Is it false? We have no idea. You know, we probably will never find out because think about Aubrey Marcus, like when you go to work at On It and you see him there and this shit all came out. Like, what kind of environment are you in at that moment? You know, like it's awkward as fuck, right?
I wonder if Joe Rogan's gonna comment on his podcast. Probably not.
Nah, I don't think so. He'd be just crazy to comment on that shit. That
Can
would
I
just ruin some shit for him.
just to lead into UFC 218?
Yeah.
I fucking hated Joe Rogan's commentary all throughout the card.
Like, what was he saying?
Like,
Because I didn't
hated it.
when I was watching it, like I watch it from, you know, like I'm in Korea, so I'm watching it from the Korean uh channel. So it's like they're doing Korean commentary, which I don't listen to at all because they're like it's not like the greatest thing to listen to. But
Mhm.
like, what was Joe Rogan doing that you just wanted to
He's
turn the
just
shit off?
he's just so. I guess it just boils down to the fact that he's extremely biased. Like it seems like almost every fight he has like a side that he's on, um, and it's like, dude, you're like the go-to guy for MMA commentary. You can't be fanboying out. Basically, I think he's to a point where he just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
You know.
I agree with that.
And it really, like, in the Tamor close fight, like that was very apparent, and it just kind of like snowballed from there. And the Yancey Oliveira fight, fucking, I mean, and then what was that during the Tisha Torres fight? He said that he's basically implying that a fight in the crowd was more interesting than that one.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, and I'm just like, how fucking disrespectful is that? Like, imagine, like, let's say, like, Tisha Torres rewatches that fucking fight back, and she hears like Joe Rogan talking about how you'd rather watch this fucking fight in the crowd. You know, that's bullshit.
Now with the Tamer and Close fight, right? Like who was
Mhm.
he um more towards? Is it for Close?
No, Tamor, he was pissed that he was freaking out about clothes, basically taunting Tamor,
Mm,
and then wouldn't shut the fuck up when I think it was Herb Dean
mm,
basically warned Tamor for timidity, which yeah, that might have been a reach, but
mm.
we really don't need to hear about that for the next 2 rounds. Like, you're gonna talk about it for 10 minutes straight following that. And I think he just Joe, if he's gonna commentate, needs somebody there that's willing to like push back at him
Yeah,
and kind of like keep him in check, like Dominic Cruz.
yeah.
Cruz will just be like, "Fuck your bullshit!" Like, no, no, Joe. Like when he starts going off on those stories that he's told like 50 fucking times already, and and Dominic Cruz just isn't having it. He needs somebody there that'll call him out as shit.
Don't you notice Dominic Cruz hasn't been on there since the last time he was on there? It's been a
Yeah.
while.
It was such a good combo, though. Oh my
It
god.
was. They're a good combo, man. Like those three are really good together. I
Yeah.
like DC a lot, but he just fanboys out too. Him and Joe
Yeah.
are kind of like the same. They're just like they're watching it like a fan.
But it makes so much more sense for Daniel Cormier. He trains with guys. He's a fighter. He's an active fighter.
Mm,
You know, Joe Rogan's been the commentator forever. Like, he's a commentator. He doesn't train with anybody. Doesn't have any affiliations with anybody. He doesn't have the gyms. Like, why the fuck is he fanboying out? Like, just call the fucking fights, dude. We don't need to hear all this shit.
All right, then also like of course Joe Rogan was doing his thing, and he's been getting criticism a lot lately. I think that like you said, he doesn't give a fuck. He gives zero fucks because he doesn't even really need to be doing this. He's done it for so long. It almost seems like he likes it because of like he gets to watch the fights, but now it's not like he's preparing to do the commentating anymore. He's just going in there like you said with the same stories, with the same things that he says, and a lot of people criticize him for like his descriptions of Muay Thai, which is not really accurate.
No, no, he really excels in the grappling department. But when it comes to striking, I don't even think which is weird because you would think, as a guy who, trained, what do you do, Taekwondo
Yeah, and he
and,
did Muay Thai.
and Muay Thai would understand that a little bit better and be able to comment on it. But it just, and even like Aldo and some of his defensive movement and like head movement, slipping punches, stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's like he wasn't even picking up on that, which I don't know if that was on purpose because he's always been kind of slanted against Aldo throughout his entire career. But that just seemed odd to me that he couldn't even pick up on the fact that what like basically what Aldo's strategy was
Mhm.
before it all kind of fell apart for him.
What about Herb Dean? He was getting a lot of criticism too on this card.
I mean, the ref's job is fucking tough, man. Like, they have so many. They feel like they have to protect the fighters. They have to, they got the crowd yelling, fucking, pissed off that there's not enough action. They have, rules that change everywhere they go.
Mm.
I'm willing to give someone like Herb Dean more benefit of the doubt than fucking Joe Rogan, who's talking.
But I love it when Joe Rogan goes in there and like openly criticizes Herb Dean, like
You know
at the
what Joe
post.
Rogan should do? Joe Rogan should fucking take a class and go try to ref a fucking fight. If you want to talk that much shit, go try to ref a fight, dude. We've seen former fighters do it. We've seen random, personalities do it. Why don't you try it?
Well, now moving on to the fights, I thought this card was one of the best cards of the year, man. Like,
It was a really good card, yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Like top, to bottom. I mean, starting at the top, Max Holloway, wins the rematch, and it was like, wasn't it like almost exactly how the last one played out?
it's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Same round.
all those winning the first two rounds,
Yeah.
third round, and I guess it was a little bit differently because it's not like Aldo gassed out. He
No,
got
he was in more shape.
overwhelmed.
Yeah, he got overwhelmed.
Yeah, and that's weird because Aldo was fighting on late notice, but he had better cardio this time around. I think that was due to him just having a better game plan. He wasn't going like super high volume, and he wasn't like throwing, like these haymakers and like really, putting like everything behind his punches. He was just trying to find his spots.
Hmm.
But then in the third round, he just got fucking overwhelmed. Like Holloway just started going off. Like the output it was like some Diaz brothers style output, but with a lot more behind the punches. Like
I think more
basically,
precision too with the punches.
I don't know about that.
You don't
You
think
said he's
so?
more precise than the Diaz brothers, or
No, I think like the harder shots he was more precise with. Because not every shot is a hard shot.
yeah. I think he was just on a roll, and then I mean, once he got Aldo down to the ground, it was getting the ground and pound in. It's like you knew he wasn't gonna fucking quit. And although Aldo was fighting, like you got to give it up to Aldo because like he did everything in his power to try to make it through the round, and he just didn't. He couldn't. He just couldn't, man.
I thought Max in this rematch that was different from the first fight is that he was much more confident from the start in
Hmm.
this fight. And even though he was getting hit and maybe Aldo was eking out the first two rounds, Max never felt like he was in danger at all. Like he was just like, it's just gonna be a matter of time in his mind. He has that confidence, dude. Like his confidence is just insane. You could even just tell, like leading up to the fights, like it's like he don't give a fuck. He's just like, I'm gonna go fucking throw axes and shit, and Aldo's gonna be all serious before his fights. You see it in the embeddeds, kind of like it gives you an insight of like what they're doing before the fights, right? So I don't know. Max seems like he's fucking top five, man. Like he's won what, 12, 13 in a row?
Yeah,
He
yeah. I
beat
think
Aldo
this.
twice.
Yeah, I think this definitely. I don't think this takes away anything from Aldo. I think it just shows you how good Max Holloway is, how much he's improved, since his last loss to a guy that we won't talk about. But like, I don't want to take anything away from Aldo because, and people all want to bring up, oh, 13 seconds through, like
Yeah.
after that knockout, he came back and he pieced up Frankie Edgar for 5 fucking rounds, and then he fought Max Holloway twice, and he came up short. Yeah, he did, and I think that speaks to how good Max Holloway is. Not that Jose Aldo is a terrible fighter or done or like anything like that. He might retire. Yeah, that's true. But if he's retiring, it's because he realizes that there's a new champ. He lost twice to him. He's not going to get another shot. He's not going to get a third fucking shot at Holloway. He might move up to 155. Who knows? Um, but
If he moves up to 155, all that's gonna happen to him, I think, is like he's just gonna disappear in the smoke, just like his teammate, Henan Barao. He moved up a weight class. What happened to him? He
I,
disappeared in the smoke.
you think that Jose Aldo has fallen off like Henan Barao?
No, I'm saying that if he goes up to lightweight, he will.
I
Lightweight is just, they will just
No, because
destroy Aldo.
Henan Barao fell off. He looked way. He's looked terrible. Jose Aldo has not looked terrible. I mean, he beat the fuck out of Frankie Edgar, who's been on a. I mean, who looks as good as ever, and he won the first 2 rounds in both fights versus Max Holloway. The first fight, obviously, he gassed out. Like, that was, obviously he worked really hard to get those first two. The second fight, everything was just going right, and got outclassed in the third round, totally outclassed. But like, I don't think he doesn't look like he's like falling off like that, and him using the leg kicks more. I think he could definitely beat up some of the the guys like hanging around the top 10. I don't think he could win the belt or anything, but I definitely think he could fuck some guys up at that lower end of the rankings.
I don't think so. I think if Jose Aldo goes up, he's gonna get smashed. I think
By
that
who?
by like even Pettis, even if he fights Pettis, I think Pettis takes him.
What?
And Pettis is like not even the top 10 anymore.
All right.
That's a fight that I would like to see. Hey,
It's a very low opinion of Jose Aldo, but
no,
okay.
I still believe Jose Aldo is the best flyweight or featherweight ever. I still believe it. Even though he lost to Max Holloway twice, I still believe that if you look at his resume, you can't deny that he's the best.
But I think we're talking about now, you're saying that he's fallen off so much that he couldn't even beat fringe lightweights.
Yeah, Anthony Pettis. That's just that's just my opinion.
I got Jose Aldo not only beating Anthony Pettis, I got him beating guys like Michael Johnson, Iaquinta, Chiesa. Like, I think he could fuck some guys up.
Hey, and I think if he moves up to lightweight, it's one of those guys that's going to fight Jose Aldo. So we will find out in the future if that's true or not.
I hope so, because I mean, he doesn't. I mean, obviously, I mean, you would agree with me, right? That he's not. I mean, there's nothing for him to do at 145 anymore.
No, there's nothing. He's beaten everybody.
He's beaten everybody, and he's lost to the current champion twice. Yeah. So there's just nowhere to go there. I mean, even with that title fight and the two like fight of the year candidates that we'll get to later, everybody has been fucking talking about Francis Ngannou.
Yeah,
like that was the talk of UFC 218. I did a poll, the best moment from UFC 218, and I think the Ngannou uppercut like moment won handedly. I would have to double check, which is crazy to me. That's just it was that scary, I guess the only way to put it.
Yeah. He's like Debo. He's like Debo in the neighborhood. Like, right. When Debo comes, you gotta run and shit. Like, you don't be around and waiting around for his ass, because he'll uppercut you. I like the meme that they made of like Overeem, but he's on Friday, and Debo does the uppercut and he flies through the air in the meme.
That's true though. He hit him with that uppercut, and like, god damn, it was just scary. Like, I was at this bar. I was watching the fights at this bar in Vegas, where the women dress very nicely. And like, I have to bring it back because like, okay, I'm at the bar, right? And I'm like super focused into the fights, and I see a dude sit down and he's got like some people around him, and I look over and it looks like Nick Diaz, but I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to go over and like bother some random dude. And I've fucking talked to Nick Diaz before at Bellator in San Jose. I don't think he remembers that conversation at all. He looked high as fuck, and smelled like weed. So I wouldn't blame him. I don't think he'd remember me at all. And I kept looking over and I was like, I think that might be him, but like, it's really weird that he's sitting in the middle of this like crowded ass bar, and I'm the only one that's noticing him, I was like, it's probably not him. And then like goes on and time goes on or whatever. The Tisha Torres fight's going on, and like I tell my girlfriend, I told her to look over and like I'm like, can you like confirm, that that's him? And she's like, no, I don't think it is. And I'm like, oh, so I'll go back to watching the fights, and like another fight goes by or whatever. And I'm like looking over and I'm like, that's gotta be like, there's no way, nobody else looks like that. Right?
Yeah.
and I ask somebody walking by just because like just asked some random person. I'm like, does that look like Nick Diaz to you over there? They're like, yeah, it fucking does. That's fucking Nick Diaz. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Because I totally thought it was somebody else because he did not look like himself. So I went over and talked to him. I didn't even go up and talk to him until after the entire card was over, like until the Jose Aldo fight was over, and I was talking about like strategy that Holloway had used to like knock him out or whatever or something. I don't remember. I was not sober, but I remember looking over after uh, they were showing the uppercut replay like over and over again, and like even Nick Diaz was like grimacing, like oh shit at that one because it was so gnarly.
Is he gonna fight again?
Hell no, nah.
He's paid like that now, huh?
I mean, he's paid like that. I don't think he has the motivation. Like he didn't put on any weight or anything. Like he still like could make weight. I think pretty easily, especially at like 170 or 185 or something.
Mhm.
Um, and like, but the dude hasn't trained in like almost 3 years now.
Just any kind of MMA training.
Like he doesn't train. He doesn't. Nate does quite a bit.
Yeah.
And he's pretty involved with the gym up there, the Nick Diaz Academy, which shout out to like Christian Giovanni, Jose Aguayo, a couple other guys I know that train up there. And like Nate's pretty heavily involved. He'll come in and like do classes and everything. And the boxing coach is up there like right next to them. So they get all their work in. But Nick fucking lives in Vegas. Like he does not leave Vegas ever. If you follow him on social media, it's just he's lives there. Like he does not leave. He doesn't train. Like I don't. Maybe he takes some kind of weird freak fight, but he's not. He's not preparing like for a fight or anything.
Well, I think that he's comfortable in his life, man. Why would you want to go back to, like he said before, he don't want to fight. He don't like fighting. Why would, if you paid and you don't need to, if you don't need the money and you don't have the itch, then you might as well just live your life the way you want to live it and just do your thing, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And Nate Diaz is the same way now too. Like he ain't taking no fights unless he's gonna get paid handsomely.
Yeah, I think he understands that his best chance of making money is a trilogy with the Irish guy.
Yeah.
Um, and I think
And
he realizes that taking another fight is such a huge risk because even if he fights someone like Woodley, and
yeah,
loses, it puts a damper, kind of on his momentum because I mean the loss to the Irish dude, it was a split, it was like a majority decision,
mhm.
very close fight. If he goes out and gets, manhandled by someone like Woodley, I mean, that kind of puts a damper, I would think, on
Definitely.
him fighting again. So he's smart enough to realize that if he's going to fight someone like Woodley, he wants to cash out on it. Um, and he's not looking to like climb the fucking rankings or
Yeah.
anything like some of these other guys are doing, like, someone like Kevin Lee but that's where we're at. And I thought it was fucking hilarious that Dana White was like saying that Dana White said that was completely untrue. And then both of the fighters involved basically came out and said, yeah, it is. You're a fucking liar.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's funny. Like Woodley, he comes out and just says that. What did he call Dana? Delusional Dana.
I think he called them delusional, and Nate said that they were both thirsty.
Yeah. Nate is, hey, he's one of the best ever, man. Like you cannot deny that he can come up with some funny shit. I don't know if someone's helping him or if it's him, but hey, he just comes up with some funny shit, out of nowhere.
Nah, he runs because when I was in Tijuana, hanging around him, he's on his Twitter like tweeting out shit or on Instagram. seems to spend a lot more time on Instagram actually than like Twitter or anything
Mm.
else. But he's definitely all over his social media. Like,
Now going back to Ngannou, it seems like the title fight is inevitable. They're talking about UFC 220 in Boston, maybe being the
I don't think
spot.
it's just inevitable. It's like 100% happening, right?
Yeah. That's what I meant. But this is a. I don't see like Ngannou being like the heavy favorite in this fight. I don't.
He came out as the favorite.
Yeah, he came out as a favorite, so for the bettors. It's you would definitely throw down some money on Stipe.
I
Why
did.
not?
As soon as I saw that,
Yeah.
shout out to MMA odds breakers, hence the name, you know.
Yeah.
But they broke the odds on that on Five Dimes, which is one of the more popular internet, bookies
Yeah.
in the US at least. That Stipe was a plus 130 underdog. And as soon as I saw that, I ran to Five Dimes and put like 5 units down. So
You got to, man. Like
yeah, because I just
it
figured
proved.
people would see that and put money on Stipe. So I was like, you got to get it before it goes down.
Yeah. Hey, that would be a fucking crazy card if they put Stipe and Ngannou on the main event and DC versus Vulcan. That's
OP.
like two challengers with ridiculous power against proven champions in both
Yeah,
divisions.
yeah, true. I mean, I I understand, the hype behind, and I was mocking Francis like quite a bit, not mocking him personally, but just people's like opinions coming into the fight,
Yeah.
because it was so much hype. Like the hype was fucking ridiculous, and like credit, I mean, in a way, credit to the UFC because they created that,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to create a star, at a division that I don't really. They should probably be focusing on another division, but anyway, at heavyweight, and I mean, he proved that the hype is real at least. But versus a guy like Stipe, man, that's a whole different animal because Nagano's just raw. He's like he's and I don't want to make this comparison as in their skill set at all, or even like the level of where they were at in their MMA careers, but like Nagano has the athleticism of someone like John Jones, where they could have played multiple sports, and they're just kind of like that cream of the crop athlete
Yeah.
that MMA like never gets because other sports pay a lot more, you know.
Yeah.
And Nagano is definitely that dude who could have been like a fucking football player easily.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see him being like a free safety or a linebacker or some shit like that.
right? The
Just
guy
killing
is just
fools.
built like a fucking house. He's ginormous. He's scary. He's picked up MMA like very fast too, you know, which I mean, credit to him. But against someone like Stipe, it's a whole other animal. You're facing a guy who has some of the best boxing, in MMA, like up there with Cody,
Mhm.
and who else has some really good boxing? Oh, man, I'm trying to think. I don't know. Uh,
And he has good wrestling too.
he has the wrestling in his back pocket. I think he's just going to use his jab to keep Francis away and be more and basically pressure Nagano and keep Nagano
On the fence.
with his backup against the fence, where usually it's the other case, it's the other way around,
Yeah.
and put Nagano in an uncomfortable situation where he's retreating. But I mean, fuck if I know, because I lost a shit ton of bets on the UFC 218. You
Yeah,
feel me?
it's Ngannou's a scary, scary dude, man. Stipe, if he's proven, he's just been through. He's beaten the shit out of everybody, like in the division except for Ngannou. And Ngannou's like that. He's like that experiment. If you look at it, because they got him in Vegas at that institute, the UFC Performance Institute, and he gets to
Yeah.
use all of the shit that they have, and then he goes and trains jiu-jitsu with fuck, what's his name? Vinny Magalesh, which is a fucking good coach to have as a big dude, learning jujitsu. You know what I
Vinny's
mean?
still fighting too.
Yeah. So I think it's great for him. He is it's legit, man. Like the hype is real. Like if he becomes the champion, yeah, man, they might go to Africa. Like he said, you know what I mean? Like go to Africa, fuck it.
Yeah, that'd be
Take him there.
interesting.
He's rags to riches too, man. He was homeless. Like how can you cannot hate this dude. Like it's just like he did it all on his own basically with his physical gifts. If he grew up in the States, he would have been playing in the NFL. He would have been in the NBA. He would not be
Yeah,
fighting in the UFC.
it's like the only way that these types of like athletes are gonna make it to the UFC. Basically, I mean, like the UFC just got lucky with John Jones because Jones is a fucking
He was a
freak.
fuck up, I think. Like I think he's always been a
Yeah,
fuck up, and he
he
just
got in, yeah, he got in trouble even back when he was in school. I don't know. That was a series of like very fortunate events, basically, for the UFC to be able to get somebody like John Jones.
fortunate events. That's a way of putting it for the UFC. Yeah, yeah. Like, hey, when you think about it, Africa might have a lot of talent and shit. You never know. You know what I mean? And maybe they're gonna start flooding, a bunch of Africans over here and fight in the UFC because there's nothing really else to do over there because the athleticism is crazy. But then if you look at it, like all these people, they're like, oh, Russia has so much talent. But when's the last time the UFC had a Russian champion? When's the last time a Russian
When's the
had?
last time the UFC actually tried to keep their Russian athletes?
That's also true. But while they're in the UFC, they really don't beat. They never really build up their record to be in the position where they're like undeniable, for the title or for anything like that. And you got Habib, but yeah, he missed weight, man. He lost his opportunity. Like he's a beast, but who knows? Who knows if he ever gonna be normal? What the
What
fuck
was
just
that?
happened?
That
The
was
feds
weird.
is watching. But anyways, I think it's
Are
back.
we good? Is it
Yeah,
recording?
it just like shut off and shut back on for some reason. It's
Is
weird.
it recording?
Yeah, it's recording. It's all good. But
Okay.
let's move on to uh the flyweight fight, which is Cejudo versus Pettis. I saw this fight playing out like it did, except for like Cejudo maybe
You
finishing
did?
him in the fight, taking him down and
I
working
didn't think.
up.
I thought Cejudo would want to, use his striking a little bit,
Hmm.
but I mean, he was just like, "Nah, I'm just gonna go back to my gold medal wrestling and fuck you."
Yeah, and I think that was smart for him because Pettis is pretty decent on the feet, and he could have lost the fight if he kept it standing.
Yeah, I mean, he also could have got submitted from the bottom, but obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Cejudo is clearly, you know, the number two guy in the division behind Mighty Mouse. I thought he beat Benavidez, um, and I mean, he's got all the tools, you know, to someday maybe give Mighty Mouse that big challenge. But if the TJ thing happens, it's if Dana's pushing for it again. I really don't. I wonder what's in that fight for Dana. Like I don't know what he's trying to accomplish because it's not like it's gonna sell a bunch of money or anything.
It's not.
And,
It should
yeah.
actually be on like Fox or some shit.
So I really don't know what the motivation there is for Dana White. Like, does he want Mighty Mouse to lose? So does he not like the contract? I don't know. It's very odd.
It is odd because, like you said, it's not gonna sell. It can't be if it's a main event of a pay-per-view. Yeah, it's gonna be very weak.
I
And
mean,
if
what
it's a
what do you
co-main
think the
event,
motivation is there?
huh?
What do you think is the motivation there to get this? I mean, he clearly wants to get the fight done so bad. I just what could possibly be the reward for that.
I think that maybe Dana wants to pull Mighty Mouse out of that division and then
Pull him
start
out of
with
the
a new
division and
champion.
scrap 125.
Not scrap it, but like just have another champion there and maybe just move Mighty Mouse up to fight for TJ's title.
Just so it's not so stagnant.
Yeah, so yeah, because it's become stagnant. It's like he's
I
been
mean,
so dominant that it's just like nobody cares anymore, really, even though he's breaking records.
yeah, yeah. I talked to a UFC fighter who's in that division, who said that when they heard about this, they went to Sean Shelby and asked him, is this true? About scrapping 125, and apparently it got to the point where they were like very serious, and there might have been action taken.
Hmm.
So it's definitely real. Like they're not just bluffing, basically.
That's fucked up, man. Like, how you gonna scrap the division? Like, you're the number one promotion in the world. It's like scrapping a division in like basketball or some shit in the NBA, or it's like scrapping a fucking conference or some shit like that. That's kind of fucked up. You know,
Yeah.
you can't be the what do you call it? The leader in this sport and scrap divisions. You're supposed to be expanding the sport, not fucking, shrinking it down and shit. It's fucked up. I feel that, you got too many people that make money fighting in that division to fucking scrap it. You got to continue, man, even though you're losing something out of it. Cuz you're the company, man. You're not the fighter, so I don't know. I don't like that idea. And if they were serious, man, that's just like fuck. Those guys that are 125, they're all just going to be slid into the bantamweight division, most likely, right?
Yeah. Bantamweight division, or go somewhere else, or I mean, there was even like talks of the UFC selling those contracts off to another promotion.
Ryzen.
Yeah, who fucking knows? It's very odd.
Well,
Um,
if there was another promotion that had like, if they decided to do this, it would be fucked up. But if they did sell the contracts to like Ryzen, which has like some good flyweights out there in their division already, why not? Why not?
yeah,
Why not
yeah.
allow them to do that? But
And then you have, I mean, on a card like this, we had two Fight of the Year candidates. How crazy is that?
yeah, and they weren't even like at the top of the card. It was just
Yeah, one was on the main card, one was on the fucking prelims. That's
yeah. And you
I
had like breakout performance too with Paul Felder just fucking smashing Oliveira. I thought that
yeah,
was like a
I
breakout
wasn't
performance.
expecting that,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking like the one of the Fight of the Nights, the Eddie Alvarez Gaethje thing,
Fuck, that shit was just nuts.
it was nuts. The game plan by Eddie was
Great.
insane. Like,
Yeah.
credit to his coaches. Eddie working the body, eating those leg kicks, and just, I mean, it was totally unexpected, especially considering, I mean, the last two times we've seen Eddie, his game planning has been terrible. You know,
He's so inconsistent, man.
he's very inconsistent. Very inconsistent. I mean, we even saw that back in Bellator. He loses to Michael Chandler. He beats Michael Chandler. It's like the guy's just. He's. I don't think he's ever going to be consistent. It is what it is. But he's a very exciting fighter.
Yeah.
Uh, people don't want to give him his due, but I think you have to. He's beaten some fucking tough guys, really fucking tough guys, and
Yeah.
that was so unexpected. The third round, like you figure, the fight's going to decision. Like Gaethje still has some, pop left in him. He's got that incredible second wind, and then he just gets hit with the knee that just totally obliterates him.
Yeah, Gaethje, he's gonna be around for a while, man. I think that this loss is just gonna make him better. I think he'll probably most likely improve and kind of go back and look at like what he's doing. And his attitude, I love it. I love his attitude. The way that he thinks is like, you win some, you lose some, and he's gonna come back stronger. Eddie Alvarez, yeah, he doesn't get his due, but I respect him like a motherfucker. I think he's one of the most exciting guys out there, but at the same time, very inconsistent to where like sometimes his fights are shitty.
We can acknowledge. I mean, we can acknowledge. We can talk about how exciting it is and like the talent he is, and at the same time acknowledge that sometimes the guy just does not follow his game plan. And it's not his coach's fault. Clearly, it's not his coach's fault because they can set up an excellent game plan and everything,
Yeah.
and he'll just go out there and fucking ignore it. Like he'll just I don't know, man. He's got some guys are like that. But yeah, Gaethje, I think he needs to go back to the drawing board with this defense. That style of defense, because I mean Eddie Alvarez went out there and showed how you can beat that style of defense. And Michael Johnson also had a little bit of success, throwing that shovel, hook, that was just at a weird enough angle where it was kind of coming in and sneaking through that guard. So there's definitely been some hints that guys could pick up on between Gaethje's 2 UFC fights, and expose that defense. So it's definitely something he needs to look at.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Michael Johnson, I wish he would have never went down to featherweight because I would like to see him fight Eddie Alvarez. I think that would be a good fucking fight.
Yeah, that would be a cool fight. Sure.
But Dustin Poirier's fucking talking shit. Like, I want my fight. I want to take Eddie Alvarez.
I mean, don't you think he deserves a rematch though?
Of course he deserves a rematch, but do you think that he deserves somebody higher up though?
Yeah, I think he deserves a rematch. I think they should make the rematch.
Yeah, I think the rematch is a good idea.
Anyway, I mean, where is Eddie gonna go? This division is in like quicks. It's stuck.
Yeah, that you're right because that fucking idiot, he's the champion, right? So,
it's just it's like these guys have nowhere to go. You might as well create some beefs and get some rivalry type fights because I mean the rankings right now they don't mean shit.
Yeah. Well, they never meant shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, do we need to talk about the Tisha Torres fight?
No, man. That's just like
Michelle Watterson.
Did they have a malfunction, a wardrobe malfunction on this fight?
Nah.
It seems like every card there's some kind of wardrobe malfunction going on or some shit like that.
There was a male wardrobe malfunction, I believe.
Oh, really? Yeah, we don't want to talk about that
fight.
one though.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
But Michelle Watterson got completely so that the information is out there so people know.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Watterson got completely outclassed. Tisha Torres wrestling, and just high output striking totally overwhelmed her. Not an exciting fight. Paul Felder annihilated Bronx. Some vicious ground and pound. You kind of touched on that. I guess that's a breakout performance. He had that highlight reel KO. Stevie Ray right before, huh?
Oh, Danny Castillo too. I was thinking of Danny Castillo, the spinning back fist.
That was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
I know, but that was like one of his like highlights when he first got in.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. But I was just saying recently he had that. I believe he picked up a bonus. He's picked up bonuses in his last 2 fights.
All over the place. These guys are just bonus.
He's a bonus machine, yeah, for sure. And if this was on a lesser card, he might have picked up a bonus as well. Who knows?
Yeah, Paul Felder, he's a guy. That's another 155er right there. That could fight Eddie Alvarez and have a fucking crazy ass fight back and forth. Paul Felder versus fucking Justin Gaethje. That would be an insane dude. There's 155 with that fucking idiot has the belt. It's just there's so many fights that you can make, championship fights, or like even number one contender fights. But it doesn't really mean anything, even if they do fight, because the dude is holding up the division, and they need to do something about it. But you got Tony Ferguson, so who's Tony Ferguson gonna fight next?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't even want to talk about the division that pissed me off so much.
But hey,
Let's talk about 170 and Yancey, the
oh,
other fight of the night.
Yancy Medeiros, I think that he had the best performance of the night.
Yeah, that was insane. He got his nose broken, and gets like dropped, and he's getting battered. And it was an insane fight. If the Gaethje Alvarez fight doesn't happen, this will be the fight that everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
Insane performance, a big, huge win for Yancey. Because I mean, it wasn't not that long ago. Like, he was really struggling at lightweight, um, and since I mean, he's 3-0 now at 170. He's 3-0 at 170, coming off two huge wins, two finishes or three finishes. And making his way up those welterweight rankings now.
Yes, hey, you could. Yes, Medeiros, man. He like Alex Oliveira, the Brazilian cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
He he is underestimated, I think, because he has some
He's so
fucking huge.
underrated.
Yeah, he's so
So
underrated.
underrated.
He has
Yeah.
huge wins, and Yancey going in there and beating the shit out of him after getting his ass beat. It just shows you how good Yancey is and why you should not cut weight.
Yeah.
He's like one
Yeah.
of those guys that are like, hey, because he moved up, it's like a Robert Whitaker. He moves up. Now he's the fucking interim champion. You got fucking,
Yeah.
it's just
It's
crazy.
definitely a case by case basis with these guys. Like it's good for some of them, and then other guys, you know, you're not gonna be able to hold up. But yeah, case by case, I think in both those guys' situations, right move for sure.
Yeah. Well, overall, this card, I could go back and watch some of these fights again, and I would just be like impressed. That's how good this card was. I think you could watch it again, like the next day, and be like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like Paul Felder, fucking coming back, getting out of that fucking back, fucking mount, from Oliveira. Because Oliveira, once he gets your back, dude, like it's hard. Like that dude knows what he's fucking doing on the back. And Paul Felder got
Yeah.
out of that shit. And you got fucking Yancey coming back. You got fight of the years with fucking Eddie Alvarez and fucking Gaethje. And then you got the other fight of the year what was the other fight of the year?
Gaethje, Johnson, Yancey, Charles Oliveira.
Yeah. Those ones, yeah. Fuck, man. It was very impressive. I thought that the matchmakers did a fucking great job on this one, man. But
Yeah.
why did
Yeah.
they do a fucking shitty ass job everywhere else in the world, though?
Yeah. Also, the tough finale was tough to watch.
Your comedian
But
side
like,
is coming out.
but like, okay. So we got the 125 division.
Yeah.
The champ is not who we expected at all. Roxy. What a weird. I mean, did you follow that series of events that happened leading up to the
To the main
event?
event, the finale, the final for the champion.
Well, just I mean, from the weigh-ins to the actual fight card.
Yeah, it was from what I remember, it was like she didn't make the weight.
No,
Right?
no, Eubanks couldn't even. She got hospitalized. I don't
Yeah,
even think she
yeah.
attempted to make the weight. And so she had just beat, or she hadn't just beat, I'm sorry. They had just shown the footage of her beating Roxanne
Hmm.
earlier, this year on The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Um, and so Roxanne steps in now as the alternate. I mean, she was like the huge favorite to win this thing in the first place, right?
I was rooting for her, man, to win. I don't think she was the
Yeah.
favorite, but I was just like I was
I
rooting for
believe,
her just to win.
I believe she was one of the favorites to win the tournament. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying in my opinion, I just thought that It was just
Oh,
like someone's gonna win. I don't know who's gonna win. Just someone's gonna win. I didn't think any one person particularly, but I was rooting for
it was
Roxanne.
like between Sarge, who had to drop out because she couldn't make weight,
Mhm.
and then Montano. Uh, it was like they were like the 13th, 12th, and 13th seeds in the tournament or something.
God damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like that? Like really? And it's like Montano came into this 3-2. Sarge was like 2-2 or something, you know?
Yeah.
Just like these records that were like, Jesus Christ. Um, and I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it that the champion right now looks like, it's a bad position to be in because you got Invicta coming up this week, where Jennifer Maia, who I think is the number one flyweight in the world, is going to take on, I can't pronounce her name, the Polish chick, Agnieszka.
Hmm.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Polish flyweight, beat Vanessa Porto, who was the former champion.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, over in Invicta, that's happening December 8th. So that's a good card to watch. I think that the flyweight champion, regardless who wins that fight, I mean that's way more legitimate than what the UFC has got going on right now. Um, and then also, besides Invicta, you got Bellator as their flyweight champ, McFarlane, who, and I think that's more legit than what the UFC has. She's 7-0. She's beat some really tough chicks in that run.
Hmm.
Ducote twice, Middleton, Rebecca Ruth. She's shown a lot of promise. You got even KGB Lee, who's on hold because of the whole USADA shit. Um, who else am I missing
You
from that
know,
125?
when you go back to that tough season, which is probably one of the worst seasons ever, um, it's just sad that the UFC just didn't think like, hey, we should just put the girls that are at strawweight and that want to be in the flyweight division and put them in the house and bring
I
a
don't think they
few.
would want to do it.
Oh, you don't think that they would want to be in that house? But
From
you're
what
gonna
I'm
fight for the championship though.
No, I know, but from what I've heard from fighters, they it's not a fun experience. I
But
mean,
if you want a title shot, why
yeah,
not?
but I think a lot of these girls are confident that they'll get, someone like, let's say, who's some 115. I mean, like Shevchenko.
Hmm.
You know, I think she's confident. Different division, but I think she's confident that she could get a title shot at 125 without having to do the show. Claudia Gadelia. I think she's confident she get a title shot without having to do the show. It's like,
Andrade.
yeah, any of those girls
Yeah.
that are there, and like I've talked to people who've done the Ultimate Fighter, they fucking hated it. You got to do the insane weight cutting. It's like weight cutting on steroids. You're doing it all the time. It's just like nonstop weight cutting. Basically, you have to do like camera shit, and tons of like scenes and repeating lines and saying stuff that's not, you probably don't even want to say. You're reading fucking shit that they want you to say. You're getting awful coaching. The coaching I've seen on Ultimate Fighter is terrible. You know, like what are they even doing in some of these instances? Like, I remember like Cody Garbrandt, like, and his game planning and like coach. It was just like, what?
Yeah, Cody Garbrandt
What are
was
you
one
even
of the worst coaches
teaching?
ever.
What are you even teaching them? Like this, like don't listen to any of this. Like go back to your gym and like forget you heard about any of this.
But the Ultimate Fighter has created some of the fucking, like champions, basically.
It did. Yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah, I mean, it used to be, great. Um,
Well, I
but
just see it as a deja vu experience, like the strawweight division, where the
Yeah,
champion, they won the
yeah.
show, and then the next person came in who was a legit contender, who was a legit threat, and just smashed whoever had the belt.
I was
And that's
hoping
what's
that
gonna
that
happen.
wouldn't be the case, but
Me too. I was hoping that too.
but it turned out, yeah, you were 100% right. I mean, there are so many girls. I mean, I mean, we could even go down to like girls that not aren't even huge names. Mara Romero Barella, who fought recently at
Yeah,
flyweight in the UFC. I think she could fucking beat this girl.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
she's like a nobody, you know?
yeah. The people that want to hop in that flyweight division, they're like, who's gonna get the first shot? And
Right?
I think they want fucking Paige Van Zant to win.
We have no idea who they want. We really don't. I mean, because I mean they could literally. There's so many names that they could throw at her for a first title defense. I think we'll be surprised. I think we'll be surprised at who they pick
Well,
for her.
Shevchenko's out there without a fight. So if they really want some legit champion to step up, or someone that could
That
be a
would be
legit champion,
murder.
yeah, it would be murder. It would just be
She would
bad.
that like Vegas would have it like a cyborg fight. She'd be like a minus 800 favorite or something
Yeah.
insane. You know, like it would just be slaughter.
But you
I,
have to do that. You have to put the champion against who is the biggest threat. And right
yeah,
now, Shevchenko would probably be the biggest threat. So she's gonna probably get in there, and she doesn't have a fight right now. She's training. She's probably healthy. Get in there and do the damn thing and start that division off right. And then you got a bunch of challengers that are lined up for whoever. If Shevchenko wins, you have them lined up, and she
yeah.
gets
I mean, at least this isn't a women's featherweight situation where they literally have the champion and then they're just pulling girls from 135. Like this card that's coming up this weekend, there's another flyweight fight.
yeah.
Something that they're actively, you know, they're actively looking to build this division. You got Alexis Davis and Liz Carmouche fighting at 125 pounds. Both of them, former bantamweights, and can provide, some pop at this division for sure. Some name power. So that's good to see. Um, I like this card. I mean, obviously, it's really hard to follow up a card like UFC 218,
Yeah.
because that was just so out of this world. But I mean, if you look at it, there's some really dope fights on here. Starting with Alcantara and Alejandro Perez. That's like buried on Fight Pass or something. It's an excellent 135-pound fight.
It is. Even like Luke Sanders versus Andre Sukumtat is actually
Yeah,
not a bad fight.
Sukumtat arguably could have won his first two UFC fights.
Yeah, yeah,
Got some awful. He got screwed down in Mexico. That was
yeah.
insane.
And
But
he's
he's
gonna get
super
cut if
excited.
he doesn't win.
Yeah, that would be all kinds of fucked up. Um, but I mean, he's got some incredible Muay Thai. Really exciting fighter to watch. His highlight reel, go check that out if you haven't seen it. It's pretty insane from his CES days.
Yeah.
Uh, that's a great fight. Yeah, Luke Sanders, Sukuntat, Alex Perez. That definitely a cool flyweight to check out.
Mhm.
Coming out of Dana the Contender Series.
You got
Um,
a lot of Contender Series guys on here though. You got Benito Lopez. He's from the Contender Series, undefeated bantamweight, taking on Albert Morales or whatever.
yeah,
Uh,
Albert Morales out of Systems.
yeah.
The guy, one of the split decision was Sukumtat. That's a good fight though. I like that fight. I feel like they like to put these lower weight class guys on these cards.
There's a lot of lower weight class fights on here. A lot of bantamweights. It seems like the bantamweight division is like has a lot of fucking guys in there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and now you got uh I think another good matchup, Eric Anders, get another fight that's dope. You know, he's exciting for sure.
Oh, it's
Um,
two undefeated guys, Marcus Perez, Eric Anders, both undefeated.
yeah,
Columbus.
Vegas has a different opinion of that.
Oh,
Uh,
really? What is the
well,
Vegas opinion?
that this is a lot more lopsided than the record show.
Yeah, it probably
Um,
is.
Holtzman, Daryl Horcher, that's kind of old guard shit there. Mariah,
Whereas,
Mariah Sterling, that's a fucking fight.
yeah, that's a good fight right there.
That's a fight. Like Rice is you know, but we're talking about 135 again, of course. They like to do that. I don't know. On some of these fight nights, they'll just load up on the lower weight class guys.
A lot of
Uh,
featherweights too.
Moraes, obviously the champion, you know, over in the now defunct World Series of Fighting. Beat John Dodson, fighting Aljo. You know, this is a very high level fight to have on a card like this. You know.
Yeah, it is. It's the third fight on the card. That's what's surprising.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So to have like really solid, and I think this is only happening because there was an injury, right? Like Sterling was supposed to fight Yaya, which honestly that doesn't sound half as exciting as Mariah's first Sterling, right?
And I think Caraway was on this card too. He
Caraway?
got injured. Yeah, he was.
Oh,
Oh, he
when
was
is he
supposed to
not
fight
injured?
Sanders.
When is Caraway not injured? I think that honestly, I think that might be another one where we the fans benefit because Sukum thought I think is more exciting than Caraway.
Yeah.
So I mean, as far as entertainment factor goes, I mean, we kind of lucked out. You know, we got some cool fill-in fights.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
talk about the main event though, like Cub
what about you? Gonna
Swanson
skip over
versus.
Jason Knight? What? That's some
Uh,
disrespect.
See, I don't know much about this Gabriel Benitez guy.
Who cares? It's a Jason fucking Knight.
Oh, I like Jason Knight, man. The Hick Diaz or whatever.
Big Diaz, yeah.
Yeah, he's exciting to watch. I think the last fight, he just got too big for his britches when he took on Lamas. But now,
Yeah,
yeah,
Lamas is up there, man. He's a killer, you know? Like that's a little bit too much too soon probably.
yeah, the Lamas too, man. Where is he going with his career? It's like he's like in a limbo also.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, obviously lost to Holloway, but that would be a good fight for him, you know? If he strings together another win or two, you
All
know?
right. Well, let's talk about Holloway at the end. Let's talk about Knight first, and then we'll talk about Swanson because they're both in the featherweight division. And let's end with Holloway and see like who he should fight next because I have opinions about that. You
Ooh,
know,
you have
that are not popular with people that
ooh,
that like
ooh,
Frankie Edgar and
ooh,
Cub Swanson and those
ooh.
types of guys. But anyways, Knight, I love Knight. Knight is exciting to watch. Was this his original opponent, Gabriel Benitez?
I believe so. Yeah, it
Okay,
was.
because I
Yeah.
would think that they would have matched him up somebody with if they're going to be the co-main event with somebody that has a bigger name, you know. But I
Yeah.
guess they
I
have
mean, maybe
confidence
they
in
just
Benitez.
no disrespect to Benitez. I mean, he's had quite a few UFC fights under his belt. You know, went through one of the seasons of the Ultimate Fighter.
Hmm.
I mean, this is his. You know, not counting the Ultimate Fighter. This is his sixth fight. You know, now in the UFC. So it's not like they just got some bum out of LFA or something. So I mean, it you probably Jason Knight's you know, an up and coming guy still, even with that loss to Lamas. He's 25. He's super young. They gave him Lamas, which is someone that you know. I feel like it's almost like a makeup call, you know,
Yeah.
like you know in basketball when they fuck up and then
Yeah.
they'll give the other team like a you know a call that they probably shouldn't have gotten.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
like you know we fucked up. We gave you someone way out of your league, and now we're gonna give you a guy you know that you should beat handedly.
But if I'm Benitez, this is the biggest opportunity of your life right here.
Yeah, yeah, you can go both ways, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So this is a huge opportunity for Benitez to come in and knock off Jason Knight, who is a rising star basically in the featherweight division. And they're looking for you to lose because they're looking for you as the fighter to like let Knight springboard off of to go into, like a higher ranked fighter. So Benitez, I like Jason Knight, but Benitez, it's your time, man. Basically, it's not even Jason Knight's time; it's Benitez's time. Really.
Yeah, I mean,
You know.
whatever you say. Yeah. I mean, speaking of like, I mean, if we're doing this whole, why is he fighting this guy? And this is on a different level.
Yeah.
But Cub is on another level because Cub Swanson is much more popular than Hick Diaz.
Yeah.
Uh, he's just a very popular guy. And he's fighting. Brian Ortega has been like sneaky good. Since he's entered the UFC, rattled off, a very impressive win streak. But it's kind of like just flown under the radar,
Yeah.
Like he's not a name. He's not a name that anybody would recognize off the bat. Even like I'm not just talking about casual, like hard, casual MMA fans. I'm talking about guys who watch MMA and UFC would be like, who, like if you say Brian Ortega, and it's Cub fucking Swanson, like he just. I don't know. I feel like at some point he should be fighting someone other than like Artem Lobov or an up and coming guy like and not to put Brian Ortega in the same book as Artem Lobov, but
Brian
just that he should be having these big fights. I feel like
Ortega should be
having
fighting
huge
Knight in the co-main event. That's what should be actually happening.
Yeah, and Cubs should be fighting a huge name
Like Lamas.
Right? Yeah,
Cub should be fighting Lamas.
it just makes more sense. But I mean,
I think because it's in Fresno also, and Ortega's a Cali, and Swanson's from California too. Isn't Swanson part of that new fight team with TJ Dillashaw and a couple other guys? Like I think
No, he does. I mean, not from what I've heard, at least. I mean, he does.
no, I've seen videos of them training together though.
But Cub does a lot of training at a lot of different places.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I mean, he does his training out in Palm Springs, which is like home base for him. Kind of like a much smaller gym, obviously, and not a very well known one. And that's kind of home base for him. And then he goes out to like Jackson Wink and he'll train there for a couple weeks, come back to Palm Springs, and go like to other places. But I don't think he really has like he's not like one of those guys who's like directly connected to a gym.
Well, with Swanson, Ortega, most likely, he has a chance, but Swanson's just so much better and levels higher on the feet to where I think Swanson's going to knock him out. Because what Ortega likes to do is he likes to go in there and start to bang with dudes. And I think Swanson's, like, striking is just too much for Ortega.
Yeah, he's very creative. Swanson's very creative with his striking. He'll find a hole and just expose the fuck out of it. Like and he'll use like some really unconventional shit. Like, like bolo fucking uppercuts, like all kinds of just weird shit that he'll pull out.
Yeah, he punches from the ground. Like his arms are like his fists are on the ground, and he'll swing from the ground. Like it's just the angles that he puts out against fighters.
Like he's not gonna get put away either. Like the only time he's been put away is a freakish Jose Aldo flying knee.
Yeah, double flying knee type shit. And Ortega's much taller too, isn't he?
Like taller or reach? Because
just taller. Like it's actually an advantage for Swanson, I think.
Yeah, because I believe Cubs' reach is actually he has the reach advantage. I don't look at the heights usually. I look at the reach because it's more important to me.
But I think for angle wise, Swanson having somebody taller is better for him when he's
Probably the way he throws punches are just
yeah.
very awkward style. Gas tank, we saw that in the Lobov fight. His gas tank's ridiculous. Like he could easily, go 5 rounds with Ortega, and we haven't seen Ortega go 5 rounds, so we don't. That's totally unknown. What is his gas tank going to be like? Um, yeah, I think everything leans in Cub Swanson's direction,
But I
which means
think
Ortega will probably submit him in the 3rd round. You know?
for real. But whatever happens, though, I believe that this fight will be exciting. Whatever happens, it's not gonna
Yeah,
be a boring fight. It's
yeah.
gonna be bloody.
Cub doesn't have bad fights.
Yeah, it's gonna be bloody and dirty
I
and
almost want to
fun.
drive out to Fresno just to watch this fight. I
You
mean, shit.
should,
I
Knights
should.
fighting.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
might throw out some, Jim Bean or something for the fans. I don't know. But anyways, now going to the champion of this division. Now, what do you think, or who do you think should be getting the title shot?
Frank Yeager.
You think Frank Yeager should be getting the title shot? Now,
Give me one reason why Frank Yeager should not get the title shot.
he lost to Aldo twice.
Well, that's your only reason?
No, I'm just saying that's just one of the reasons, okay? Also, Frankie Edgar, there's no other reason. That's the only reason. That's the
You
only thing
can't do it.
I'm not hating
No.
on Frankie Edgar. I love Frankie Edgar. I'm just saying he lost to Aldo twice. But other than that, that's the only reason that you could argue against him getting a title shot. So yes, he should get a title shot. Like there was like conversations of Cub Swanson taking on Max Holloway, and I believe that would never. I don't like that fight at all because Max fucked up Swanson before.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason they were supposed to fight. Edgar got injured. That's not his fault, as much as Dana wanted to paint it like, and I always find it funny when people like defend Dana because it's like Dana does not need to be defended. What it's
No, he
like,
don't. He's got
like
all the money, man. How are you gonna defend somebody that's like making the money off other people? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
saying shit like, I don't understand how he could break his orbital bone in training. Like, what are you trying to accomplish there? Like
Exactly.
it's very transparent what you're doing.
It's like when Pena hurt her knee. Remember?
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
came out and said, "Why are they?" It's like basically what he was saying is like, "Why are they wrestling?" you know?
I don't get it. I mean, I understand. Maybe Frankie shouldn't be training so hard to the point where that happens. But honestly, I've seen crazy shit could have happened. Like you're at the gym and it could have been someone much smaller than him just lands something like awkwardly and it breaks a bone. Like these guys are hitting each other in the face. Like it's not like it's an exact science where they're out there like they can jog around and lightly like shoot some balls around.
Yeah,
They have to fucking punch each other in the face to train. Like shit, shit can happen.
exactly. Well, like it's funny when like like football players or baseball players they get injured at home and they're not even
Oh
fucking training and shit. And
yeah,
then you got
they
fighters.
they slipped they slipped in the kitchen and like they broke their fucking arm,
Yeah,
or
like
or they blew off their hand with the firework.
or they blew their knee walking down the stairs.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
stupid shit like that. But yeah, I think Edgar and Holloway. I believe that they should probably give him a fight in Hawaii. I think he deserves that if that's possible to have
yeah.
one.
I know there's got to be some. Is it the time zone?
I don't know what the time zone is though.
It's definitely not mainland.
Yeah,
But I think that's the reason why they haven't done it because you know they've hit like every state in the U.S. Like
yeah.
why haven't they hit? Uh, Hawaii yet. But I think that's all time zone related. I
Well, if
can't.
they're gonna do a pay-per-view in Australia, and that's a totally fucking different time zone.
Yeah, but then you're establishing a fan base. You're trying to that has long term benefits when
That's
you go.
true. Their population is bigger. MMA is so big in Australia.
Yeah, it's like
and
you're
New Zealand.
planting seeds there
Yeah,
for future, fans of the sport. Whereas Hawaii, it's like you already have BJ Penn. It's part of the United States, and it's not really, you know, it's not like you're planting seeds in some place that hasn't been touched, by MMA yet. As weird as that sounds.
yeah. Well, it's true because I think they did a pay-per-view in Japan. You remember that one with the Benson Henderson and Frankie Edgar?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that they learned a lesson from that pay-per-view to where like, hey, if it's not gonna be worth the growth of the sport in the country or wherever you are having the pay-per-view at, then just don't have it there at all and just have a fight night
yeah.
or something. I think a fight night is possible.
Yeah, they could do some really cool. Well, I mean, they're not going to put a championship fight on a fight night,
No,
but
no, no.
they could do some really cool shit. With the Hawaiian fighters that they have on the roster. Smolka, you got Yancey. Obviously, we just talked about him. Tons of Hawaiian guys.
Well, you could bring
Uh,
even the Hawaiian guys that are from like Australia and New Zealand and fly them into Hawaii and fight on the card too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you could even bring up the ghost of BJ Penn to lose horribly to
Main
somebody else.
event, fight night, BJ Penn versus Nick Lentz. Let's do
Uh,
it.
Fucking
Let's
A.
do
We need to
it.
talk about something. No, let's change the subject. My
All
God.
right, man. Let's shut it down with this one and
Oh,
shit, with the BJ Penn and Nick Lentz.
yeah,
Fight
that's a
night
good place to
Hawaii.
end. That's a good place to end, for
Yeah,
sure.
man. Well, the rest of the year,
Mm.
I guess we'll probably get one in before the Cyborg versus Holly Holmes.
What a disappointment. Yeah. Mm.
We'll probably get one in before then. But
That's a really
next,
disappointing end to the year.
it is. It is kind of disappointing, but what can you do? They were expecting, like, I believe that they were expecting to get a deal done with Diaz versus, dude, but that never
Yeah.
happened. And
Whoever Diaz's manager is doing an excellent job at telling the UFC to go fuck themselves.
yeah,
Because he has a new manager, and you could tell shit's different now.
yeah, for sure. Well, hey, I like what he does. I like that he's standing his ground and saying like, fuck you to your bullshit ass contracts, and I'm gonna get paid and you're gonna pay me, and it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen. I believe it's gonna happen next year, and
Yeah,
gonna cash out.
for sure.
All right, man. Well, it was good talking, and yeah, I'll hit you up and we'll do it again.